Urban Meyer, I don't believe I'll coach football again. As gets set to coach his last game at Ohio State, many still wonder if it'll be his last game coaching, period. In fact, arguably the most noteworthy moment of the early December press conference announcing another retirement came when Meyer was asked if he's finished coaching. Meyer said, although he later added, when asked about his future in the profession, I believe I will not coach again. Even that last assertion, though, came with a qualifier that certainly left the door open in the minds of many observers. Fairly certain. Ahead of his first ever appearance in the Rose Bowl in what's presumably his last game ever as a head coach, Meyer was again asked about his future and reiterated that he doesn't believe he'll be on the sidelines beyond the New Year's Day game. I believe this is it, the 54-year-old Meyer said, by way of, when asked about his coaching future on ESPN's College Game Day show Saturday. Once again, that's between myself and my family, but I don't believe I'll coach football again. I feel like I am leaving on my own terms. I've been a Buckeye since I've been this big. I love this area. My dream was to hand it off to someone who I think is not only great but I think he'll make us stronger. When he, twice, while at Florida, were cited as part of the reasoning behind Meyer's departure. Fast forward nearly a decade, and health issues were again cited when the Ohio State head coach. For years, Meyer has dealt with that puts and sometimes during the Indiana game earlier this season. At his retirement press conference earlier this month, Meyer pointed to the headaches as the primary impetus for his decision. Saturday, Meyer again touched on the health aspect of his departure and how the uncertainty of the risks attached to continuing his career impacted his decision. I've dealt with some significant issues this year, really since 2014, Meyer said. When the word risk comes out of the doctor's mouth, that checks your whole heart a little bit. And I asked the question, what exactly is a risk? And, the doctor said, we're not sure, coach. Over the weekend, Ohio State athletic director confirmed that Meyer next month. The specific details of Meyer's duties in his new role haven't been laid out, at least publicly. Of course, there's also the much-discussed Meyer will be teaching as part of his post-retirement career. Intends to transfer from Georgia, and it was immediately reported Ohio State as the most likely destination for his services. Turns out, the train is already far enough down the tracks that told that Fields has reached out to inquire about what it's like to be a Buckeye. This would obviously be a good thing for Ohio State. Fields was the number 2 player in the class of 2018, and is petitioning to be granted immediate eligibility in 2019. Every single program in the country would rather have Fields than not. But that doesn't mean it would be a thing for Ohio State. With Haskins expected to declare for the NFL draft after Tuesday's Rose Bowl, Fields would still be leaving one quarterback room crowded with highly recruited players for another, and one of those players is not ready to hand the baton to Fields without a fight. In an interview with Ohio State backup quarterback said this, a 4-star recruit out of Las Vegas Bishop Gorman High School, Martell redshirted in 2017 and has carved out a role as Haskins' backup this fall. Playing in a specially designed short yardage and goal line package in addition to mop-up duty, Martell has completed 23 of 28 passes for 269 yards and a touchdown while rushing 22 times for 128 yards and 2 scores. But it's more than just that. Martell thinks his incumbency advantage is real due to the complicated nature of this offense. I was talking to Dwayne and he's like, well, it took me over a year before I even felt comfortable on the field, and I felt the same way, Martell told the site. Now, almost 2 years into it, I know what I am doing and I'm on point with everything I do. I'm ready to start. To beat out Martell, Fields would have to master an offense in 8 months what Martell would have lived in for 3 years by the time of Ohio State's 2019 opener. Martell thinks he would win that fight. It isn't just the offensive talent that's leaving Morgantown. The 2019 West Virginia team is not only losing quarterback, top receivers and, tight end, offensive coordinator and, their best defensive player is also gone as well. Mountaineer linebacker announced on Sunday he will forego his final year to declare for the 2019 NFL Draft. I have talked with family and prayed over it numerous times and I have decided to forego my senior year and enter the 2019 NFL Draft, Long said in a statement posted to his Twitter account. This has been my dream since I was young and I thank everyone that has supported me along the way. I will continue to represent this great state and program wherever I go. Long did not let his undersized status, 5'11", 221 pounds, stop him from making plays. The Cincinnati native led the club with 111 tackles, 19 TFLs and 7 sacks. He was a first-team All-Big 12 performer. Say this about Houston, they mean what they say. A school whose president bragged about firing for the sin of going 8-4 was upfront from the start they wouldn't tolerate similar results from, and now they're backing it up. The school fired Applewhite on Sunday. "We'd like to thank Coach Applewhite and his family for their commitment to the success of the Houston football program over the last 4 seasons, including the last 2 as our head coach," said AD. "After a thorough evaluation of our football program, it is my assessment our future opportunities for success are better addressed by making this very difficult decision now. While the immediate future may be challenging, our future at I is very bright. We've made many sizable improvements over the past 5 years, and I look forward to enhancing our future success through the hiring of our next head coach. At this time we have already begun the search process for our next head coach and will not comment further until the search is concluded." In taking over for Applewhite went 7-5 with a Hawaii Bowl loss in his 2017 debut. That led him to hire as his offensive coordinator, and the move worked. Houston began the year 7-1 and scored at least 41 points in all 8 games. The Quags dropped their next 2 games but still entered their regular season finale at Memphis with the AAC West Division on the line. With quarterback injured, Houston lost that game, 52-31, then was demolished 70-14 by Army in the Armed Forces Bowl. At that point, Applewhite was 15-10 in his 2 seasons as head coach, below the program's stated bar. Furthermore, Briles, who had agreed to the biggest contract for a group of 5 coordinator in history after Texas State pursued him for its vacant head coaching position, has since left to become the offensive coordinator at Florida State. Rather than rebuild under Applewhite, Houston has opted to hit the reset button. Reports indicate will be the top candidate to replace Applewhite. You don't fire an Applewhite to hire, say. And if nothing else, Applewhite's replacement will know what the bar is. Houston will have the corpses of Levine and Applewhite's tenures as proof what they won't tolerate. Oh, how it all came crashing down for at Miami. Fired at Georgia in 2015 for the sin of going 9-3 too many times, the former Miami quarterback was quickly scooped up by his alma mater. He had planned to sit out the 2016 season and take a long-awaited breather, but the U had just fired and it all just made too much sense to pass up. Richt was re-energized by his return to South Beach, where the climate was warmer, literally and politically, without the fire-breathing SEC boosters coming for his head. He was even going to call plays again. Richt went 9-4 in 2016, then everything clicked in 2017. Buoyed by back-to-back destructions of number 13 Virginia Tech and number 3 Notre Dame, both of them before a raucous Hard Rock Stadium crowd, in front of primetime ABC audiences, Miami started 10-0 and rose to number 2 in the polls. The Hurricanes were upset 44-28 at Pittsburgh on the final Friday of the regular season, but a win over Clemson would hand them the ACC championship and a college football playoff berth. Instead, the Hurricanes were outclassed, falling 38-3. Playing in front of a home crowd in the Orange Bowl, Miami lost to Big Ten runner-up Wisconsin, 34-24. A 10-0 start became a 10-3 finish, with 3 straight double-digit losses. Still, 2018 began with South Florida sunshine. Miami started the year at number 8 in the AP poll, with a showcase game against number 25 LSU. However, the 2018 opener quickly showed that the offseason hadn't fixed the U's woes, only prolonged them. LSU scored the game's fifth 27 points en route to a 33-17 win, Miami's 4th straight loss to a Power 5 opponent by 10 or more points. Miami recovered to win their next 5 games, rising to number 16. But that was just foreshadowing for a 4-game losing streak, all to unranked teams. Miami failed to top 14 points in 3 of those losses. The final straw came in Thursday's Pinstripe Bowl, a 35-3 drubbing at the hands of the same Wisconsin team from last year's Orange Bowl. Those Badgers also suffered through a similar season, beginning the year at number 4 before falling out of the rankings, and even they were a class above Richt's Hurricanes. Miami AD released hay after the game, but on Sunday Richt released a statement of his own, his retirement announcement. Richt exits stage left as one of the most successful coaches in college football history to be considered a disappointment. He was 145-51 with 2 SEC championships, a share of 6 SEC East crowns and 7 AP Top 10 finishes in 15 seasons at Georgia and 26-13 with 1 ACC Coastal title and 2 AP Top 25 finishes in 3 seasons at Miami. Still only 58, Richt is young enough to coach again if he so desires, but the last season and a quarter of his team's performance showed his desire is gone. With a 171-64 career record, Richt is a profoundly good, respected man who will be in the College Football Hall of Fame someday, A coach defined more by what he didn't do than what he did, a man with plenty of friends but few fans. Somehow that seems terribly unfair but perfectly fitting.